Hey guys, so fun little fact that I'm going to share with you tonight is the fact that I am a thoroughbred Trekkie. Now I will say I'm a thoroughbred Trekkie because I was raised on Next Generation. I do love the original series though. I am a Spock girl through and through. But I call myself a thoroughbred Trekkie because when my parents were pregnant, they would watch movies and television shows and they would just read through the credits afterwards, and that's how they would come up with like a name or get some inspiration for names. And they were watching an episode of Star Trek, and ta-da! They found Ariana, and so here I am. They really couldn't shake the name after that. And so it was at first a little embarrassing. Now I'm like, this rocks. So yeah, Star Trek was amazing. I just got home. I'm really tired. And I was gonna originally just do a little video that said, guys, my doctor appointment went great. Please don't forget to go to the doctors. It is very important for you to go. The slightest thing that's off, don't ignore that little voice in the back of your head. You never know what it might lead to. You would rather get told, no, there's nothing to worry about, than find out years later, no, you had something to worry about, and now we have a big problem on our hands. So if you have the means to get to a doctor's or a free clinic, just do it. The slightest thing is off, please take care of yourself. Do your yearly checkups. And ladies, at 21, I know this might sound awkward, but please get your pap smears done. I know a little too many girls that won't go to the gynecologist. They think it's awkward and they think it's weird, and you really should. They're getting to investigate things that you can't see for yourself, and certainly your partner won't be able to notice. And so please do get it checked out. Please do get yourself checked up. I know it is weird and it is awkward at first, but trust me, in the long run, this is for your health. So there's that point, and my other point I was going to say was that my photo shoot went amazingly well. I cannot wait to put a link to the photos as soon as they're ready, and I'm going to be putting them up on my Tumblr, and I'm going to be putting a link up on here, and they were just wonderful, and I was so comfortable, and I just had such a wonderful time, and she gave me such inspiration. So we had a little fun with them, but most of the photos were very poised, and I wanted like inner strength showing and just acting as if nothing's wrong. And so this is my whole campaign about Bald is Beautiful and embracing your obscurities and your insecurities. And I think I'm gonna like start making shirts with that because that would be really fun. Just obscurities and insecurities. But yeah, so I was gonna go into detail about all of that, and then I went to the movies tonight. And I got put in a position where I was like, I really should talk to my followers, I should talk to you, I should just share this kind of stuff. And it's deeply personal, so I'm not going to go into too many details. Maybe in a future video I'll tell the whole story, but for now we're just going to go with the bare minimum. Last night when I had to drop off my car at a friend's house before going to the movies, I realized that their house was like a block away from my grandparents' old apartment where I basically grew up. So knowing that my grandpa just passed away last August and getting to see the old apartments and like a flash of memories are coming back, and I was like, oh, damn, I miss you guys. You know, I miss that apartment. I miss just that it was so small, but everybody fit in it and we were all cozy, and it was just the perfect place to be. And we're driving around and I'm noticing different houses of people that I used to grow up with, and this is in a town that's right outside my hometown. And normally when I drive back down to this area, because where we moved to is about 45 minutes north of that, where we moved to, like whenever I go down to my hometown, I'm normally just going straight to some of my friends' houses and picking them up or staying in that immediate area. I'm never usually driving to this other neighborhood that's right next door. And I guess the main reason why I don't go down there is because I used to have friends there and now I don't. They've all kind of moved away, and so I just have really no reason to be in that area. The other reason is in that town, literally right across the train tracks from the movie theater, is the hospital where myself and my brothers were born. And it's also the hospital where my dad did his first round of chemo. And it's the hospital where my dad did his final round of chemo once he fell out of remission. It's the hospital where my dad died. And it's the last place I saw my dad. It's a place that I will avoid for that fact alone. Now, I do have some good memories at hospital. I don't like hospitals. I will preach a lot to say go to your doctor, but I don't like hospitals. And I would say that comes from the trauma of being 13 years old and not having the stench of hospitals, that cleanliness smell come off of you for like a year. That would probably be it. I just don't like hospitals. They make me very uncomfortable. And also, other trauma with my dad. But I do have some good memories. Like, as we're driving by the hospital to get to the movie theater, I see this one walk path. And I remember one night right after my dad got diagnosed, it was that first week. It was late. It was after hours, and we were all missing him. It was that first week that he was away from home, and he was going to stay in the hospital. And we were still embracing this whole thing. But what my mom did was she took all of us out of bed. We pulled up right across the street, and we walked to this path that was actually right underneath from his first hospital room window. And we called him, and he was able to come to the window, and we were able to say goodnight to him and everything like that. So when we were driving there, I could almost see us kind of pop up, but I couldn't picture my dad up there. It was really difficult. It's one of those things that, unfortunately, as you get older and after some time has passed, it's really hard to place that person's voice. You know it, and it's so ingrained in you because it's something that you heard your whole life. But it's very difficult to kind of pull it out. You'd automatically recognize it, but it's very hard to just pull that voice out. And obviously, being on this journey right now where I'm doing something for my dad and doing something for my grandfathers and doing something for my family. And, my haircuts for them, my tattoos for them, some of the reasons why I write and some of my pieces are for them. And so, I kind of am having to start facing some certain things that I wasn't ready to face. I'm having to revisit. It's not that I didn't want to face them. It's that I'm having to revisit them. So maybe let's say a year after something was conquered, I'm now having to face it head on suddenly in the middle of the night as I'm about to go walk into a movie theater and watch something that I know my dad would have thoroughly enjoyed. But it was just heart-wrenching for me last night because this was me driving by a hospital, and every other time I used to drive by, I would just avoid it like the plague, and this time obviously I couldn't. And the person who I'm driving with, we've only recently become friends, so I'm not about to start crying in the middle of the car. But, this is the place where my dad died. There's no getting past that. I could even tell you exactly the same room, walk you through the whole story. If I do tonight, I will cry. But it's the last place I saw my dad, and so well, last time I saw my dad was a week and a half before he passed away. And maybe in another video I'll go into the whole story in detail, but just for the bare basics, I did not get to say goodbye to my dad. I ran out. I got scared at 13 years old. and I walked out on my dad. And the really crappy part of the whole story is that the afternoon when he died, I was literally supposed to see him 24 hours later. 2 days prior to him passing away, my mom said, "Oh, come with us to the hospital." And I said, "No, I'm going to see him in 3 days. It's fine." And it'll all be forgotten, the fact that I ran out. And we can just kind of avoid what I did and how that affected me and it affected him. And I get to hear about it years later, about what happened when he saw my mom later, and he had to tell her what happened because my mom never knew. And it was something that when I went to counseling and we were examining a certain issue, that story came up. And it took months to get that story out of me because it's not my proudest moment. But suddenly saying that, or at least claiming like a year ago that I had gotten past that I had forgiven myself for it, and kind of felt like it was null and void last night because suddenly I'm getting upset in the car because suddenly I can almost picture a little 13-year-old girl running out the hospital doors and just sitting down at the sidewalk and hearing her dad's like voice just echoing in her ears. Like, just... So what I'm noticing is that this has no longer become something that it's just, I'm just talking about my hair, or I'm not just building awareness, but it's having me face things that I thought I already faced. But it's having me re-examine them on a different level. And on a night when I'm less tired, I think I want to start diving into it more and seeing how some of this stuff, like looking back on it now, is affecting me, or different situations. Like, I'm planning on going to my grandfather's grave next week, and it's going to be really interesting to go do that. And it's trying to process these situations now with a new head on my shoulders and a new yeah. So those are my really tired thoughts for this evening. I hope that wasn't too depressing for you guys, but I thank you for bearing with me, and I hope all of you guys have a good night. And if you haven't seen Star Trek, go see Star Trek. Alright, good night, lovelies.